When Steve Jobs gave his commencement speech at Stanford, he stated, "If you live each day as if it were your last, someday you will most certainly be right." Steve Jobs lived his life in this way, and after listening to my speech today, I hope you will better understand the life of Stephen Paul Jobs. I feel confident to tell you about the most innovative person of our generation after extensive research through books, articles, and the internet. Let's start off at the beginning, today I will tell you about his life before Apple, his life during Apple, and his life after Apple. Let's start off at the beginning with his parents. His birth mother was Joan Schiebel. She was a graduate from the University of Wisconsin. She also wanted her son to go to university, but she did not want to raise him because of her career. She found a pair of adoptive parents, Paul and Claire Jobs. They were a working class family from San Francisco, California. Steve Jobs was born on February 24th in 1955 in San Francisco. As a kid, he was very temperamental, and he didn't like being adopted, and he felt like a castaway from his birth mother. At the age of 14, he met Steve Wozniak, who lived next door. He was a computer geek, and he helped build the first computer in their parents' garage. They started a homebrew computer club, which would later be renamed after an apple farm in Oregon that Jobs visited frequently. This would be the birth of the Apple Corporation. Jobs and Wozniak both combined to start the corporation, as Wozniak is the brains and Jobs is the hustler. Jobs was the hustler. He gathered the components and parts needed for them to build their computers. At the age of 24, the company was worth $10 million. And at the age of 25, it jumped up to $100 million. As Apple grew, however, Jobs changed his attitude. He became ill-tempered and treated his employees very badly. He also even got his girlfriend pregnant, Kristen Brennan, and denied being the father until a paternity test proved otherwise. At the age of 30, Jobs was fired because of his ill-temperedness. He took this very hardly. He did not like being cast away from the only other family that he had known and the only corporation that he built from the ground up. He finds Schiebel, his birth mother, and learns that he has a little sister named Mona Simpson. They later become very good friends, and he learns to change his attitude towards life and be nicer to people. He ends up making the next computer company, which Apple ends up buying later on for $400 million. This is still the operating system that Apple uses today in all their computers. In 1986, he founded Pixar. A lot of people do not know this. And in 1995, just a week after Toy Story was released, he was sitting on the stock worth a net of $1.1 billion. In 1991, he married Laureen Powell, where they eventually would have 3 kids. In 2001, he created the iPod, which innovated our music industry. In 2003, however, he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. This near-death experience forced him to push up his innovativeness, and he pushed to create new things. He ends up creating the iPhone in 2007, and in 2010, 3 years later, he creates the iPad. However, just a year later, pancreatic cancer caught back up with him, and he dies on October 5th of 2011 at the age of 56. I hope you now better understand the life of Stephen Paul Jobs. He had a very young, hard life. He made one of the greatest companies that we know of today, and he has a lifelong list of achievements that none of us can ever imagine going to. In an interview with Jeff Goodall, he stated, "I think that life is something that happens in a flash. We have a brief moment here, and then we are gone. Let's take his advice and live every day as if it were our last." Thank you.